Hi everybody, Susan LaCroix, independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. I'm here with another tutorial in my series on basic stamping, and today we're going to talk about adhesives. I've had some questions lately about what adhesives to use when, so I thought I would just kind of give you a little talk about it. There is a really nice chart on the pages in the annual catalog where the adhesives are. I want to say it's 202 and 203, and so it gives you kind of an overview of when to use it, but you can use your own judgment as well and kind of what you're comfortable with using. So I'm just going to very quickly go over the different kinds of adhesives we have. So we have multi-purpose adhesive pages that are great to use with framelits or dies that have very intricate images. We have our fine tip glue, which is also great for using with detailed images or small things such as sequins, putting those on your projects. Probably one of my favorite is Tombo's multi-purpose adhesive, liquid adhesive, and I'll demonstrate why I really like this a lot. We have mini glue dots, which again, great for adhering bows and small items. We have our snail adhesive, which is like a tape runner. You can purchase one in a case, and then when it gets empty, you can just put a refill cartridge in. We have our dimensionals. We have our standard ones, which are great for popping images off and giving you a little dimension to your projects. And then this year we came out with the little mini ones, so you don't have to cut your normal size ones in half. And then additionally, we have these long adhesive strips that are great for shaker cards, great for eclipse cards. So, yep, I'm going to show you how to use that today. And we have our two-way tape, tear and tape, which is great for boxes and heavy, thick images. To really adhere it to your project. And then something I find is a useful little tool is our silicone craft sheet. This is wonderful because adhesives won't stick to this. So if you're working with some messy stuff, if you're using a hot glue gun, this is terrific. So I'm going to get this out of the way and just kind of show you some tips that I picked up along the way. All right, so the first project I'm going to show you, I've already, for the sake of time, kind of glued some things down. But so these are the elements I have left to adhere to my card. So I'm going to start with the ribbon on the Designer Series paper, and I have found that this tear and tape actually works quite well when you're adhering just a strip of ribbon. It won't go anywhere. It won't buckle or leave a gap anywhere between the paper and the ribbon. So I just find this to be very useful. I'm not getting this on real straight, but it'll work just fine to show you what I mean. All right, so I'm going to just tear this off. I'm going to just tear this off. Really? Come on. Okay. And because it's two-way, this isn't the straightest piece I have on here, but I just want you to get the idea. This is not going to be straight at all, so you'll just have to ignore the fact that it's not very straight. And I will show you a project with a straight piece of ribbon on it. Of course, I can cover that with my tag. So then I'm just going to clip off the extra pieces here. Yeah, it's because it's got that adhesive on the back. Okay, here we go. Get this out of here. All right, then to stick this onto our card, you can use the snail, the tape runner, or you can use this liquid glue, which I absolutely love. So I'm going to squirt some on. The reason that I like this so much is that it doesn't dry immediately, so you can slide it around your card to make sure you've got it in just the spot you want. So as you center it on your paper, okay, I want it down a little bit. So see how it's kind of sliding around a little bit, and then once you get it where you want it, you can just kind of push it down, push it into place. I think we can cover up our ribbon boo-boo with our tag, Enjoy Today. So we're going to use some of our big dimensionals to put that on. I'll use 3. Well, I guess I'm using 4. No, we're not. Put that back over there. All right, so what I have found easiest, because sometimes if you have trouble getting the backings off, if you just push your thumbnail in, then the backings peel right off. And then I'm just going to stick my tag here. So then all that's left to do is our flower. So I've stamped 2 of our daisies, and I'm going to just take a little, well, here I'll use a little snail. So I'm just going to put just a wee bit of snail in the center of the bottom flower, offset these 2, so we can put them on there. And then take a dimensional, the one that I pulled off is a number 4, peel that off and stick that in the corner. And then we have our card. So using tear and tape, using snail, using dimensionals, using the liquid glue, we have that card done. All right, next card. This is a technique called paper piecing. So what I did is I'm using one of our note cards with some cardstock on it as the background, and I stamped my image in black along with my greeting, and then I stamped it again on a piece of designer series paper and then fussy cut out the dress. I did the same thing with the hat with a little piece of crumb cake, and again I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue. Get a little on here. And put it on here. And this is really great for paper piecing because sometimes you're trying to line things up just so. And then take a little bit of our fine tip glue because this hat is real little and I don't need a lot of adhesive on it. So just a little dab will do ya. And put her hat on. And sometimes with the fine tip glue you got to hold it for a couple seconds just to make sure it sets. But there she is, and she's ready to be put on here. And so I'll just use a little bit of snail. I just kind of, so you saw my mistake on the back. That's the one thing good about Stampin' Up! Our paper has 2 sides. So you can always flip it over. There we go. All right, so a little paper piecing with adhesives. That one's done. All right, the next one I want to show you is another little note card. We're going to use our jar of love and put a little goldfish and make a little shaker card. So I already kind of made up my shaker stuff, which is some sequins and some glitter. And then I kind of figured out where I wanted my jar to go and did a little wash on the cardstock to look like water. So the first thing we want to do is I've stamped and die cut out our jar, and I've die cut out our jar in the window sheets. And so you want to put that on the back of your jar first. That's the first thing you want to do. So I used glue dots. I didn't show you that, but I just stuck glue dots in some strategic places. And then I'm going to just stick this on here. Okay, so now once we have this on, now we want to put our adhesive strips, ones that come like this. And I went ahead and did this, but you want to make sure you are covering every little area here so that your shaker stuff doesn't pop out. So I just really just covered next to the window. All right, so then once we have that on here, I've got my little goldfish, and I already went ahead and did my tag as well, and I cut it out and tied some baker's twine around it. So let's get this guy here. So the first thing I want to do is put my fish on there, and I'm going to use a little mini dimensional and pop him up. So I'm going to put one there and one over here by his hiney, his tail. And put him in our water. And then I want to take some of my shaker stuff, and you don't need a lot. So I probably won't even use all that I've made up for this card. But I'm just going to pour a little over here. It's probably enough right there. And it slipped right off. So let me put this back on here. Well, sure. Just dump them right on there. Okay, you're going to get the idea in just a minute. So that's enough of that. All right, so I'm going to try to hold this down and peel off my adhesive strip backing. I need a third hand, you know? Too bad we can't grow a third hand when we need it, huh? Oh, the trials and tribulations of crafting. Okay, and we're just going to stick this on here like so. And we have our little shaker card. And then all I have left to do is put my can and my jar on, and I'm going to use some liquid glue for this. Stick this on here. And obviously I think this card probably needs something else, so maybe, you know, another layer perhaps with an embossing folder, you know, with the waves or something, but there we go. But that, I just wanted to give you an idea of how to use the adhesive strips to make a shaker card. All right, the last thing I want to show you, sorry about that, we had a technical glitch, so we're all back on. So what I was starting to show you was how to use this mat to do some adhesive flowers. So I'm going to pull this over here. So I punched out several of these flowers, and then just to kind of break the fibers, just take my bone folder and just kind of run it through the cardstock a little bit. And you can make these as big or as tight or loose as you want. But what I do is I put a little dab of liquid glue. Doesn't need much. We're going to take one of our white layers and just stick it on there. And then we're going to add a little drop of the glue, and I'm going to stagger my layers so that each different color is kind of peeking. And you might want to just hold it for a second and let it kind of set before you do your next one. You can do, obviously, multiple colors. You can do a single color. So we're going to turn this a little bit this way. Have some of that yellow peeking through. And again, if you don't have it quite where you want it, you have time to slide it around. So I want this one to be a little bit tighter. And there, a little drop of glue. Hold it down. You want to let this dry for a few minutes before you pick it up off the silicone mat. And put it on your project. So there you go, you've got a multi-layered flower. And then you can add, like on this pink one, I added a faceted jewel. And so when you're ready, you just pick it up because it doesn't adhere to the silicone mat, and then you can put it on your project. All right, so that's one of the ways you can use this. You can also, if you're working with ribbon, you can also just lay your adhesive down, stick your ribbon on it, lift it up, and do that as well. So the last thing I want to show you is our Sizzix adhesive sheets. And what you're going to do to use this is you're going to take the side off with the printing where it says peel here. And then you're going to just put your cardstock on here. And I would probably trim this down a little bit. And then you're going to take your die, your Thinlit, and on the cardstock side, you're going to run that through your Big Shot so that you get a piece that looks like this. And then if the adhesive isn't loose on the back for you to peel it, you can always take a piercing tool and just kind of start to lift it a little bit. Sometimes it kind of starts on its own too if you're lucky, but then you can just peel it off. It's all sticky and you can just stick it where you want it on your piece of cardstock or your project. So that's using the adhesive sheets. Great for detailed dies. I hope this has been helpful to you. Oh, it got sticky there. And I hope that you have some fun and this has been helpful in terms of which adhesive to use when. So thank you for watching and happy stamping.